the pursuit of happiness and fulfillment is a timeless human endeavor. We often seek it in external things, possessions, achievements, relationships, and pleasures, believing that these will bring us lasting contentment. However, the ancient Stoic philosophers, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, offered a different perspective. They argued that true happiness and inner peace are not found in the external world, but within ourselves, through the cultivation of virtue, wisdom, and self-control. This is not a philosophy of grand gestures or dramatic pronouncements. It is, instead, a quiet revolution, a gradual, internal shift in perspective and behavior. It involves consciously eliminating the distractions, negative influences, and unhealthy attachments that hinder our growth and prevent us from living a truly meaningful life. The Stoics provided a practical framework for achieving this, emphasizing reason, acceptance, and a focus on what we can control. This guide presents 10 key areas where we can quietly eliminate negative influences from our lives, drawing on the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Each point is not a rigid rule, but rather a principle to be adapted and applied to your own unique circumstances. The aim is not perfection, but progress, a gradual journey towards a more tranquil, resilient, and fulfilling existence. This is a path of self-discovery, self-mastery, and the cultivation of inner strength, guided by the timeless wisdom of the Stoics. It is a journey inward, a quiet revolution that transforms our lives from the inside out. 1. The need for external validation. Quietly eliminating the need for external validation, a Stoic path to inner strength. The relentless pursuit of approval, praise, and recognition from others is a fundamental source of unhappiness and instability. Stoicism teaches us to find our worth within ourselves, rooted in our virtuous actions and reasoned judgments, rather than in the fickle opinions of the external world. Stoic justification. Inherent worth versus external opinion. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, constantly reminds himself that his value comes from living in accordance with nature and reason, not from the accolades he might receive as emperor. External validation is a preferred indifferent in Stoic terms, something that might be nice to have, but is not necessary for a good life, and should not be pursued at the expense of virtue. Epictetus emphasizes that we should be concerned with our own judgments and actions, as these are the only things truly within our control. Seeking validation externally places our emotional well-being in the hands of others, making us vulnerable to their whims and judgments. The fleeting nature of praise and approval are temporary and often based on superficial factors. The same people who praise you today might criticize you tomorrow. Relying on this external feedback creates a roller coaster of emotions, preventing inner peace. Seneca warns against being swayed by the empty applause of the crowd, urging us to focus on the enduring value of virtue. The illusion of control. We cannot control what others think of us. Trying to do so is a futile effort that leads to anxiety and frustration. The Stoic dichotomy of control teaches us to focus our energy on what we can control, our own thoughts, actions, and judgments, and to accept what we cannot. How to eliminate? Mindful self-reflection. Become aware of the moments when you are seeking external validation. Notice the urge to post something on social media for likes, the anxiety about what others will think of a decision, or the tendency to modify your behavior to please someone else. Journaling can be a powerful tool for this self-awareness. Internal compass. Cultivate a strong internal compass based on your values and principles. Before making a decision, ask yourself, is this aligned with my values? Is this the right thing to do, regardless of what others think? Practice self-sufficiency. Develop the ability to be content with your own company and your own judgment. Engage in activities that you enjoy for their own sake, not for external recognition. Reframe criticism. When you receive criticism, view it as an opportunity for growth, not as a personal attack. Consider whether there is any truth to the criticism, and use it to improve yourself. If the criticism is unfounded, let it go. Focus on virtue. Remind yourself that your worth comes from your character and your efforts to live virtuously. Focus on developing qualities like wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Eliminating the need for external validation is a liberating process. It frees you from the constant pressure to please others and allows you to live authentically, in accordance with your own values. You develop inner resilience and a sense of self-worth that is independent of external circumstances. This is the path to true tranquility and a fulfilling life, as envisioned by the Stoics. 2. Complaining and negativity. Quietly eliminating complaining and negativity, embracing Stoic acceptance and action. Habitual complaining and a negative outlook drain energy, reinforce a victim mentality, and prevent us from focusing on what we can control. Stoicism encourages us to accept what is beyond our power and to take action on what is within it. Stoic justification. The dichotomy of control, revisited complaining often stems from a refusal to accept the things we cannot change. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasized the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control, our thoughts, judgments, and actions, and what is not, external events, other people's behavior, etc. Complaining about the latter is a waste of energy and a distraction from the former. Indifferent events. Stoics viewed many external events as indifferents, neither inherently good nor bad. Our judgment of these events is what determines whether they cause us suffering. Complaining is a form of negative judgment that reinforces our unhappiness. A rainy day, for example, is simply a rainy day. It is our judgment that it is bad that leads to complaining. Focus on action. Instead of complaining about a problem, Stoics advocated for taking action to address it, if it is within our control. If it is not within our control, the appropriate response is acceptance and a shift in focus to what is within our power. This proactive approach empowers us and prevents us from feeling helpless. The power of perspective. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminds himself to view events from a broader perspective, to consider the vastness of the universe and the insignificance of his own troubles. This helps to put things in perspective and reduce the tendency to complain about minor inconveniences. How to eliminate. Become aware of your complaints. Pay attention to your thoughts and words. Notice when you are complaining, either verbally or internally. Keep a complaint journal for a week to track your patterns. Is this within my control? Question. When you catch yourself complaining, ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is yes, focus on taking action. If the answer is no, practice acceptance. Practice gratitude. Cultivate an attitude of gratitude by consciously focusing on the positive aspects of your life. Keep a gratitude journal, listing things you are thankful for each day. This shifts your focus from what is lacking to what you have. Reframe negative thoughts. Challenge negative thoughts and replace them with more realistic and positive ones. Instead of thinking, "This is terrible," try, "This is challenging, but I can handle it." Limit exposure to negativity. Reduce your exposure to negative news, social media, and people who constantly complain. Surround yourself with positive influences. Focus on solutions. When a problem arises, instead of complaining, focus on finding solutions. Brainstorm possible courses of action and take steps to address the issue. Eliminating complaining and negativity is a transformative process. It frees up mental and emotional energy, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. You develop a more resilient and optimistic outlook, enabling you to navigate challenges with greater ease and grace. This is the path to inner peace and a more fulfilling life, as taught by the Stoics. 3. Unnecessary possessions and attachments. Quietly eliminating unnecessary possessions and attachments, a Stoic path to freedom and simplicity. The accumulation of material possessions and strong emotional attachments to things often leads to dissatisfaction, anxiety, and a fear of loss. Stoicism encourages us to simplify our lives, focusing on inner wealth, virtue, rather than external riches. Stoic justification. External goods are not essential for happiness. Stoics believe that true happiness comes from within, from living in accordance with virtue and reason. Material possessions are preferred indifference. They can be enjoyed, but they are not essential for a good life and should not be the primary focus of our attention. The burden of attachment to possessions creates a fear of loss. We worry about our things being damaged, stolen, or becoming obsolete. This constant anxiety prevents us from fully enjoying the present moment. Seneca, in his letters, frequently warns against the dangers of being enslaved by our possessions. The illusion of control. Again, we cannot ultimately control whether we keep our possessions forever. Accidents happen, things break, and we eventually die. Clinging tightly to material things is a futile attempt to control the uncontrollable. True wealth lies within. Marcus Aurelius reminds himself that his true wealth lies in his character, his ability to reason, and his capacity for virtue. These internal qualities are far more valuable and enduring than any external possession. Simplicity and freedom. A life free from a multitude of things is a life that is easier to navigate. How to eliminate? Regular decluttering. Make a habit of regularly decluttering your physical space. Get rid of things you no longer need, use, or love. Donate, sell, or recycle items responsibly. Mindful consumption. Before buying something new, ask yourself, do I truly need this? Will it add genuine value to my life, or is it just a fleeting desire? Avoid impulse purchases. Practice detachment. Remind yourself that everything is temporary. Nothing lasts forever, including our possessions. Practice letting go of things without feeling a sense of loss. Imagine scenarios where you lose something, and practice responding with equanimity. Focus on experiences. Instead of accumulating material goods, invest in experiences that enrich your life and create lasting memories. Travel, learn new skills, spend time with loved ones. Appreciate what you have. Practice gratitude for the things you already possess. Instead of constantly wanting more, appreciate the value and utility of what you have. Give freely. One of the best ways to be less attached to your things is to give them away. Eliminating unnecessary possessions and attachments creates a sense of freedom and simplicity. You are no longer burdened by the constant need to acquire and maintain things. You have more time, energy, and resources to focus on what truly matters: your relationships, your personal growth, and your contribution to the world. This aligns with the Stoic ideal of living a virtuous and fulfilling life, free from the distractions of material excess. 4. Toxic relationships and negative influences. Quietly eliminating toxic relationships, cultivating a Stoic circle of support. Relationships that consistently drain your energy, promote negativity, or hinder your personal growth are detrimental to your well-being. Stoicism encourages us to surround ourselves with people who uplift us and support our pursuit of virtue. Stoic justification. The influence of our company. Epictetus emphasized the profound impact of our social environment on our character. He likened it to a piece of coal. If you lay hold of it when it is still burning, it will burn you, but even when it is extinguished, it will blacken your hands. We become like the people we spend the most time with. Virtue is the goal. The Stoics believed that the primary goal in life is to live virtuously. Toxic relationships can undermine this goal by encouraging negative behaviors, discouraging self-improvement, and creating emotional turmoil. The importance of boundaries. Stoics valued self-respect and setting healthy boundaries. Allowing toxic people to constantly violate your boundaries is detrimental to your mental and emotional health. Focus on your own actions. While you cannot control the behavior of others, you can control your own reactions and choices. You can choose to limit your contact with toxic individuals and to focus on cultivating positive relationships. Inner peace over external harmony. Sometimes, maintaining inner peace requires distancing yourself from people who disrupt it, even if it means facing temporary discomfort or conflict. How to eliminate, quietly and respectfully. Identify toxic relationships. Reflect on your relationships. Which ones consistently leave you feeling drained, anxious, or negative? Which ones encourage unhealthy behaviors or discourage your personal growth? Gradual distancing. You don't necessarily need to have a dramatic confrontation. Gradually reduce your contact with toxic individuals. Decline invitations, limit conversations, and create physical and emotional space. Set boundaries. Learn to say no to requests or demands that violate your boundaries or compromise your well-being. Be assertive, but respectful. Focus on positive relationships. Invest your time and energy in relationships that are supportive, encouraging, and aligned with your values. Seek out people who inspire you to be your best self. Practice forgiveness, but not forgetfulness. Forgive toxic individuals for their behavior, but don't forget the impact they had on you. Forgiveness is for your own peace of mind, not an invitation to repeat the same patterns. Self-reflection. Examine your own role in the dynamics of toxic relationships. Are you enabling negative behavior? Are you seeking validation from the wrong people? Eliminating toxic relationships, even quietly, creates space for healthier and more fulfilling connections. You are no longer constantly battling negativity and can focus on your own personal growth. This aligns with the Stoic ideal of living a virtuous life, surrounded by people who support your journey towards wisdom and tranquility. It may be difficult initially, but the long-term benefits to your mental and emotional well-being are immense. 5. The pursuit of pleasure as the ultimate goal. Quietly eliminating hedonism, finding joy in virtue, not just pleasure. While pleasure is not inherently bad, making it the primary focus of life leads to dissatisfaction, instability, and a neglect of more enduring values. Stoicism distinguishes between fleeting pleasure, hedon, and the deeper joy, chara, that comes from living virtuously. Stoic justification. Pleasure is fleeting, sensory pleasures are temporary and often followed by a sense of emptiness or dissatisfaction. The Stoics recognize that constantly chasing the next pleasurable experience creates a cycle of craving and disappointment. The dangers of excessive indulgence in pleasure can lead to vice and a loss of self-control. It can distract us from our duties and responsibilities, hindering our personal growth. Seneca warned against becoming slaves to our desires. Joy versus pleasure. The Stoics differentiated between pleasure, hedon, and joy, chara. Joy is a more enduring state of well-being that arises from living in accordance with virtue and reason. It is a byproduct of a life well lived, not the goal itself. Virtue is the only true good. Stoics believe that virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, temperance, is the only true good. External things, including pleasure, are indifferents. They can be enjoyed in moderation, but they are not essential for happiness. The importance of purpose. A life focused solely on pleasure lacks a deeper sense of purpose and meaning. Stoicism encourages us to find meaning in fulfilling our duties, contributing to society, and developing our character. How to eliminate, or rather, reframe. Practice moderation. Enjoy pleasures in moderation, without becoming attached to them. Recognize that they are temporary and do not define your happiness. Find joy in simple things. Cultivate an appreciation for the simple joys of life, a beautiful sunset, a meaningful conversation, a good book. These simple pleasures are often more fulfilling and less fleeting than extravagant ones. Focus on virtue. Make the development of your character your primary focus. Strive to be wise, just, courageous, and temperate in all your actions. Fulfill your duties. Find meaning and purpose in fulfilling your responsibilities to your family, your community, and yourself. Engage in meaningful activities. Pursue activities that challenge you, engage your mind, and contribute to something larger than yourself. Practice gratitude. Be grateful for the pleasures you do experience, but don't become dependent on them. Reflect on the consequences. Before indulging in a pleasure, consider its potential long-term consequences. Will it hinder your progress towards virtue? Will it lead to regret? Reframing your relationship with pleasure doesn't mean avoiding it altogether. It means not making it the central focus of your life. By prioritizing virtue and finding joy in meaningful activities, you create a more stable and fulfilling life, less susceptible to the ups and downs of fleeting pleasures. This aligns with the Stoic ideal of living a life of purpose, guided by reason and virtue, leading to a deeper and more enduring sense of well-being. 6. Worrying about the future and regretting the past. Quietly eliminating worry and regret, mastering the present moment. Excessive worry about the future and dwelling on past mistakes are major obstacles to inner peace. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of focusing on the present moment, as it is the only time we have any control over. Stoic justification. The present moment is all we have. The past is gone and cannot be changed. The future is uncertain and largely beyond our control. Worrying about either is a waste of energy and a distraction from the present, where we can actually take action and make a difference. The dichotomy of control, applied to time. We can only control our thoughts and actions in the present. We cannot control past events, nor can we fully control future outcomes. The illusion of certainty. Worry often stems from a desire for certainty about the future, which is an illusion. Life is inherently uncertain, and accepting this is crucial for peace of mind. Learning from the past, not dwelling on it. Stoics acknowledge the value of learning from past mistakes, but they cautioned against dwelling on them. Regret can be paralyzing, preventing us from moving forward. Preparing for the future, not obsessing over it. Stoics also advocated for prudent planning and preparation for the future, but without becoming consumed by anxiety about what might happen. How to eliminate. Practice mindfulness. Cultivate mindfulness through meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply paying attention to your senses in the present moment. This helps to anchor you in the now and reduce the tendency to wander into the past or future. The what can I control? Question. When you find yourself worrying or regretting, ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? Focus your energy on those aspects that are within your power. Acceptance of impermanence. Remind yourself that everything is temporary. Both good and bad times will pass. This acceptance helps to reduce anxiety about the future and regret about the past. Learn from mistakes, then let go. If you've made a mistake, extract the lesson, make amends if necessary, and then let go of the regret. Focus on what you can do differently in the present. Plan, but don't obsess. Make plans for the future, but don't become fixated on specific outcomes. Be flexible and adaptable, recognizing that things may not always go as planned. Focus on action. Instead of worrying about the future, take action in the present that will move you in a positive direction. Journaling. Write down your worries and regrets. This can help you to process them and gain a more objective perspective. Eliminating worry and regret frees you from the mental prison of the past and future. You become more present, more focused, and more effective in your actions. You develop a greater sense of inner peace and resilience, able to navigate the uncertainties of life with greater equanimity. This is a core tenet of Stoic philosophy, leading to a more tranquil and fulfilling life. 7. The illusion of control. Quietly eliminating the illusion of control, embracing acceptance and resilience. The belief that we can control everything that happens to us is a source of frustration and anxiety. Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what is within our power, our thoughts and actions, and what is not, external events, and to accept the latter with equanimity. Stoic justification. The dichotomy of control, central theme. This is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Epictetus's Enchiridion begins with this principle: some things are within our control, while others are not. Understanding and internalizing this distinction is crucial for inner peace. External events are indifferent. Stoics viewed external events, wealth, health, reputation, etc., as indifference, neither inherently good nor bad. Our judgment of these events is what determines whether they cause us suffering. The Serenity Prayer. Stoic echo. The Serenity Prayer, though not explicitly Stoic, captures this principle perfectly. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Focus on your response. While we cannot control external events, we can control our response to them. This is where our true power lies. We can choose to react with virtue, reason, and resilience. The futility of resistance. Trying to control the uncontrollable leads to frustration, anger, and disappointment. Acceptance, on the other hand, allows us to conserve our energy and focus on what we can influence. How to eliminate. Identify your spheres of control. Regularly reflect on what is truly within your control and what is not. Make a list if it helps. Practice acceptance. When faced with something you cannot control, consciously practice acceptance. Acknowledge your feelings, but don't let them consume you. Remind yourself that this is part of life. Focus on your response. Shift your attention from the external event to your internal response. Ask yourself, how can I respond to this situation with virtue and reason? Let go of expectations, release the expectation that things will always go your way. Embrace the uncertainty of life. Develop resilience, view challenges as opportunities to practice resilience and to strengthen your character. Practice premeditatio malorum. This Stoic practice involves mentally rehearsing potential setbacks or difficulties. This is not about worrying, but about preparing yourself mentally and emotionally to respond effectively if those things happen. Eliminating the illusion of control does not mean becoming passive or apathetic. It means focusing your energy where it can be most effective, on your own thoughts, actions, and judgments. You become more resilient, less reactive, and better able to navigate the inevitable challenges of life with grace and equanimity. This is a key element of Stoic wisdom, leading to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. 8. Unproductive habits and procrastination. Quietly eliminating unproductive habits and procrastination, mastering time and self-discipline. Unproductive habits and procrastination steal our most valuable resource, time, and prevent us from achieving our goals and living a meaningful life. Stoicism emphasizes self-discipline and making the most of every moment. Stoic justification. Time is our most valuable asset. Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, argues that life is not short, but that we waste much of it on trivial pursuits. Time is a non-renewable resource, and we should use it wisely. Virtue requires action. Stoicism is not just a philosophy of thought, it is a philosophy of action. Procrastination and unproductive habits hinder our ability to act virtuously and to fulfill our potential. Self-discipline is a virtue. The Stoics valued self-discipline, temperance, as one of the 4 cardinal virtues. It is the ability to control our impulses and to act in accordance with reason, even when it is difficult. The present moment. Again, procrastination often involves putting things off until the future, neglecting the present moment. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can do now. The importance of purpose. Having a clear sense of purpose and goals helps to overcome procrastination. When we know why we are doing something, we are more likely to take action. How to eliminate. Identify your unproductive habits. Be honest with yourself about the habits that are wasting your time and energy. This might include excessive social media use, mindless browsing, binge-watching TV, or constantly checking email. Break down tasks. Large, daunting tasks can lead to procrastination. Break them down into smaller, more manageable steps. Create a schedule, structure your day and allocate time for specific tasks. This helps to create a sense of accountability and to prevent procrastination. Eliminate distractions. Identify the things that distract you and take steps to minimize them. Turn off notifications, put your phone in another room, or use website blockers. The 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately instead of putting it off. Reward progress. Reward yourself for completing tasks, even small ones. This helps to reinforce positive behavior. Practice self-compassion. Don't beat yourself up if you slip up and procrastinate. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and get back on track. Focus on the benefits. Remind yourself of the benefits of completing a task. How will it contribute to your goals? How will it make you feel? Eliminating unproductive habits and procrastination frees up time and energy for the things that truly matter. You become more productive, more focused, and more effective in achieving your goals. You develop a greater sense of self-discipline and self-mastery, aligning yourself with the Stoic ideal of living a virtuous and meaningful life. 9. Judgment of others, and yourself. Quietly eliminating judgment, cultivating empathy, understanding, and self-compassion. Harshly judging others and ourselves is a source of negativity, conflict, and inner turmoil. Stoicism encourages us to focus on our own virtue, to practice empathy, and to be more compassionate towards ourselves and others. Stoic justification. Focus on your own virtue. The Stoics believe that our primary concern should be our own character and our own actions. Judging others is a distraction from this essential task. Epictetus said, "Don't seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go smoothly." This applies to judging others. Accept them as they are. We don't know the full story. We often judge others based on incomplete information and our own biases. We don't know their full history, their struggles, or their motivations. The illusion of superiority, judging others, often stems from a feeling of superiority, which is a false and unhelpful emotion. Stoics emphasized humility and recognizing our own imperfections. Self-compassion is essential. Just as we should extend compassion to others, we should also be compassionate towards ourselves. Excessive self-criticism can be paralyzing and prevent us from growing. The interconnectedness of humanity. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminds himself of the interconnectedness of all human beings. We are all part of the same cosmic order, and judging others is like judging a part of ourselves. How to eliminate? Become aware of your judgments. Pay attention to your thoughts and words. Notice when you are judging others or yourself. Practice empathy. Try to see things from the other person's perspective. Imagine what it might be like to walk in their shoes. Challenge your assumptions. Question your judgments. Are they based on facts or on assumptions? Are they fair and objective? Focus on your own actions. Instead of judging others, focus on improving your own character and behavior. Practice forgiveness. Forgive others for their mistakes, and forgive yourself for your own. Cultivate self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend. Remember the mote and beam. The biblical saying about removing the beam from your own eye before removing the mote from another's is relevant here. Focus on your own flaws before criticizing others. Practice gratitude. Focusing on the positive qualities of others and yourself can help to reduce judgment. Eliminating judgment, both of others and of yourself, creates a more peaceful and harmonious inner world. You become more accepting, more compassionate, and more understanding. You are less likely to be triggered by the actions of others and more able to focus on your own personal growth. This aligns with the Stoic ideal of living a virtuous life, free from the distractions of negativity and judgment. 10. The fear of death, or adversity. Quietly eliminating the fear of death and adversity, embracing impermanence and resilience. The fear of death, and of adversity in general, can paralyze us and prevent us from fully living. Stoicism teaches us to accept death as a natural part of life and to view adversity as an opportunity for growth. Stoic justification. Death is natural and inevitable. The Stoics viewed death not as something to be feared, but as a natural and inevitable part of the cosmic order. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, repeatedly reminds himself of the impermanence of all things, including his own life. Adversity is a training ground. Stoics saw adversity not as a punishment, but as an opportunity to practice virtue and to develop resilience. Seneca likened it to a wrestling partner, helping us to become stronger. Focus on the present. The fear of death often stems from anxiety about the future. Stoicism encourages us to focus on the present moment and to live each day to the fullest. Virtue is the only true good. Again, if virtue is the only true good, then death, which is simply the cessation of life, cannot be truly bad. It is our judgment of death that makes it fearful. The dichotomy of control, applied to mortality. We cannot control whether or when we die. Trying to do so is futile. We can control how we live our lives up to that point. How to eliminate, or rather, transform. Meditate on impermanence. Regularly reflect on the fact that everything is temporary, including life itself. This can help to put things in perspective and reduce the fear of death. Practice memento mori. This Stoic practice involves contemplating death, not in a morbid way, but as a reminder to live fully and virtuously. Focus on living a virtuous life. If you are living a life of purpose, guided by virtue, you will be less likely to fear death. You will have lived a good life, and that is all that matters. View adversity as an opportunity. When faced with challenges, see them as opportunities to practice courage, resilience, and other virtues. Practice premeditatio malorum. Again, mentally rehearsing potential difficulties, including death, can help to prepare you emotionally and reduce fear. Read Stoic texts. Immersing yourself in Stoic philosophy can provide comfort and guidance in facing death and adversity. Find meaning and purpose. A life with meaning and purpose is less likely to be consumed by fear. Talk about it. discussing your fears with trusted friends, family, or a therapist can be helpful. The path of Stoic living is not a destination, but an ongoing journey. It is a continuous process of self-reflection, self-improvement, and the cultivation of virtue. There will be times when we falter, when we fall back into old habits, or when we are overwhelmed by external circumstances. This is perfectly natural. The key is to recognize these moments, to learn from them, and to gently redirect ourselves back to the principles of Stoic philosophy. The quiet elimination of the 10 areas discussed in this guide is not about achieving a state of emotionless detachment or robotic perfection. It is about cultivating inner resilience, finding peace amidst the chaos of life, and living with greater purpose and meaning. It is about developing the ability to respond to challenges with wisdom, courage, and temperance. It is about accepting what we cannot control and focusing our energy on what we can, our own thoughts, actions, and judgments. The benefits of this quiet revolution are profound. We become less reactive to external events, less swayed by the opinions of others, and less attached to material possessions. We develop a greater sense of self-awareness, self-control, and inner peace. We are better equipped to navigate the inevitable challenges of life with grace and equanimity. We find joy not in fleeting pleasures, but in the enduring satisfaction of living a virtuous and meaningful life. The journey of Stoic living is a personal one. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. The principles outlined in this guide are tools to be adapted and applied to your own unique circumstances. The key is to be patient with yourself, to celebrate small victories, and to keep striving towards a life guided by reason, virtue, and acceptance. This is the path to true happiness, inner peace, and a life well lived, as envisioned by the Stoics, a quiet revolution that transforms us from the inside out, empowering us to live with greater freedom, resilience, and joy. The journey is lifelong, but the rewards are immeasurable.